Hi, this is Jennifer Kent with Parks Associates, and I'm joined today by Josh Locke, VP of Sales with Essence USA, to talk a little bit about his perspective on the connected health market today. Hi, Josh. Thanks for joining me today.
Hey, Jennifer. Great to be here. Thank you.
Awesome. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Essence and what you do?
Yeah, sure. Essence is kind of a sleeper company. Most people don't know who they are because, we're pure B2B. We're a custom manufacturer, so our brand really doesn't make it to the consumer. But we are a global leader in manufacturing of IoT products and platforms, even based out of Israel. We do all our manufacturing there, all our custom engineering for platforms and hardware. All of that is done in-house in Israel. We are the U.S. Division. The vice president there. I lead up the sales team for North America. So we even go into Canada and the Caribbean and even some of the South American countries as well. But again, Essence is a global leader in IoT. Basically, what that means is we focus on hardware in the security as well as healthcare channels. And so there's a lot of convergence between healthcare and security type technology, although the power is in the cloud, and we can kind of talk about that during my main session. But that's really who Essence is. We're as far as healthcare, we're in 27 countries. We're the only one manufacturer that's in that many countries globally. And here in the States, we're partnered with many of the top medical monitoring companies and service providers in the U.S. You go to our website, you see brands like Medical Guardian, Life Station. Some of the bigger guys, they utilize our product to ultimately fulfill their services.
Well, so thanks for that introduction. You really have a great position in the market to be able to give sort of a big picture view and the trends of what's been happening in the connected health space, also for devices that do ultimately make it to the consumer side. So from your perspective, what industry and consumer trends have really shaped the last several years in the connected health space?
Well, that's a good question. There's a few factors, in my opinion. The largest factor is reimbursement. Everybody's really focused on that. Reimbursement is available to Medicare providers for connected health solutions, specifically remote patient monitoring of chronic illness. Secondly, and likely brought on by necessity during this pandemic, is consumer tech adoption, which you guys have done a lot of research on, which is amazing. And I read one that you were comparing 2019 and 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic, and you have the actual numbers, so you can put them up on the screen, like maybe right there. But the two that really stood out to me was something like 30% of 65 and older used video conferencing services, and
Mhm.
30% used telehealth services. And then, ironically, today I just saw an email from you guys that you released some numbers stating 64% have used telehealth in 2021, which is extremely impactful. So these are all really great trends, and it clearly shows that seniors are embracing technology, which has been one of the biggest challenges, frankly, in the overall connected health industry. Again, the primary factor being the reimbursement. Now that that model's in place, we're having all kinds of conversations and launching pilots with our new VitalOn product, which is a remote patient monitoring, very simplified. And it supports the Medicare providers that are billing to the five specific CPT codes that are reimbursable.
So I can definitely confirm that the data has only continued to increase, right, from the consumer side. That consumers are using connected health technologies more than ever, year after year, and even among seniors, that familiarity with connected health tech and telehealth services, the use of these devices continues to increase. You're absolutely right. So very impactful. From your perspective, how has the role of technology really evolved to better meet the challenges of companies in this space?
Well, technology in general is getting easier, more powerful, and more reliable. In the not so distant past, complexity, connectivity, and reliability has been a challenge for connected health industry, at least in my opinion. Today, there are very simple and user-friendly approaches to connecting one's health, if you will. There's really two buckets in connected health. Health, one being kind of the reactive role in a quick response when a medical emergency occurs. The other in taking preventative measures, monitoring vitals and activities of daily living, as an example. So they've all evolved to be, easy, non-wearable tech or passive monitoring, as an example, more powerful. We need connectivity, 4G LTE and the 5G networks provide more power, more coverage than we've ever seen before. And then the reliability is related to both connectivity and reliability of transmission of data, as well as the actual reliability of the connected health devices in the home. So they got to be simple. They got to work when you need them to work. Can't be fumbly. Can't be inaccurate. Can't be unreliable. And they've all become more reliable.
So, given that reimbursement is now in place and hopefully will become, long term and permanent, right? And maybe
Yeah.
expand. Now that you mentioned a couple of those great innovations and kind of changes in the technology, what does that next phase in connected health look like for you?
Right. Such a broad term, right? Connected health. What does the next phase mean? Yeah. But, I believe the next phase will be more innovative companies getting more attention and scale in the next few years. It's happening now. The more innovative ones, they have virtual assistants and stuff like that. They're going to gain, a lot of attention and market share. The companies with connected health in the connected health industry that are choosing not to innovate and offer more value to their stakeholders, ultimately end users and caregivers, I think they'll lose out on some of the opportunities out there, um, to those same companies that are providing the latest and greatest solutions that are being more adopted today by the markets they're going after. And if you want me to kind of opine specifically, I believe a full connected health solution that a few companies I know of provide today will become more mature, in the market, and positioned to obtain massive scalability ultimately. In essence, as an IoT manufacturer and platform service provider and integrator into existing platforms, we'll be working with these companies to change the way that in-home healthcare is being addressed.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you for that perspective. And honestly, when I think about Essence and where you sit in the fact that you do provide IoT devices and platforms to verticals that are not healthcare, that may be more advanced and
Yeah.
much further down the road than healthcare because they don't have the same type of barriers across the board that kind of healthcare does, especially the United States. Can you talk a little bit about how that positions somebody like an Essence to bring learning from these other verticals into the healthcare space?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's how we arrived in the healthcare space is from our experience in the security market, residential, commercial, smart home automation world that we've been in for over 25 years. Yeah, so it's similar technology, but it really revolves around kind of what you're doing on the back end and who you're partnered with. And it's revolved around the data that you're gathering from these devices. As an example, a passive infrared motion detector in the security world is what I consider kind of a dummy device. It does just what it states. It triggers on infrared and motion, right? But in the healthcare world, you want more data. You want to know, how long that motion was in that room, and even you want to be able to put in type radar technology. We've got a technology called MD Sense. That's what we call it. Other people rebrand it, of course, Jennifer. But MD Sense is using, not only the passive infrared motion, but also radar technology to tell the gait of a person. Are they standing? Are they seated? Are they lying on their couch? Or are they lying on the floor, which is indicative of a fall, unless you're doing yoga or something like that. But yeah, so it's an evolution over the years to answer your question, and our experience in the security world has really led to our innovation on the healthcare side. we're the number one manufacturer of security products in Europe and ranked number three globally. We do over 1 million pieces of equipment a month. So we have a lot of power when it comes to innovating and using our extremely talented engineers on the security side to make products that really apply to healthcare.
Well, it's certainly a exciting time to be in the connected health space, considered broadly. Certainly by necessity, this market has moved forward by leaps and bounds over the past 18 months. And there's so much innovation and opportunity ahead of us to really make a real difference in people's lives and in the system as a whole. So, Josh, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your insights and opinions, and look forward to continuing the conversation with Essence and all the industry leaders that participate as part of the connected health community with Parks Associates throughout the year.
Yes, my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me, Jennifer, and Parks. Much appreciated for everything you guys do.